Hello everyone and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be looking at 2009 Frozenbyte Software's Trine. It's a pretty cool physics-powered puzzle platformer where you get to play as three characters at the same time and traverse a bunch of very interesting physics puzzles while looking for secrets and killing monsters along the way. It's got kind of a cool story setup, so we're going to start out by watching that, and then we'll get into the game for a few minutes, and then all of a sudden it will be time to go. Trust me, I tried. This is actually my second time recording this. First time didn't work. I ended up recording at far too large a resolution and it screwed up everything.
Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, a kingdom was prospering. But peace could only last so long. The old king died. With no descendant to the throne, the kingdom fell into chaos. Lust for power blinded warriors and wizards alike. New kings emerged, only to fall the next day. But the madness of men would soon be overshadowed by a far greater evil. The magic that once gave life and good fortune had transformed into something sinister. One by one, grave by grave, the dead began to rise, feeding off the energy that grew stronger with each passing night. Fear spread throughout the kingdom, and it was soon abandoned. But something was about to happen that would change the course of history. On the outskirts of the kingdom, near the Astral Academy, a thief carried out her cunning plan. She had learned of an ancient object of tremendous value. The Astral Academy, left to rot in the face of the terrible enemy, had no one to keep the treasure safe. The time was right.
Alright, so we get a little bit of a setup for each character.
Everything was perfect. She had made her way to the castle and would soon lay her hands on the treasure she so desired.
So the first character, the thief, is probably one of my favorites because she actually has the most nimble controls. And she has a kind of a grappling hook, which is always fun. She can also shoot arrows, which are marginally effective for combat reasons. But you'll see what we deal with for combat pretty soon.
The gentle moon smiled at the thief as she made her way towards the shrine of ancient treasure. Strangely, the protective charms around the shrine allowed her to enter unharmed.
I really like the graphics in this game. It's quite beautiful, very fantasy, very well done.
I got it.
As the thief lay her hand on the treasure, she had a tingling sensation. The thief would soon discover that fate had taken hold of her. Unknown to the thief, a wizard was just waking up. The wizard had taken a look in the spyglass and seen the terrible undead army. He was keen not to die.
By my trousers, I must escape.
He had been studying the stars and trying hard to learn the elusive fireball spell that all wizards ought to know. Of course, that was a lie. For you see, the wizard had a certain reputation with the ladies. What he had really been up to was the creation of a fake fireball potion that would have impressed the ladies and improved his status. The potion had backfired, causing a fortnight of sleep.
Yeah, that's what they want us to believe. He's actually just been drinking vodka up here. So the wizard's kind of cool too for his own reasons. He can levitate stuff with right click, and left click will actually let you draw certain items into existence, namely boxes. So this is the first minor physics puzzle. And those little green vials over here, there's a few of them actually. Those are experience, and there's actually skill trees, which aren't you know, a huge deal, but they do help a little bit. Let you get some better abilities as the game progresses. For example, you might be able to make 2 boxes instead of 1, or your archer might be able to shoot 2 arrows instead of 1. Stuff like that. And he can manipulate platforms and stuff, which is very useful. And so when you pair the wizard, the thief, and then there's a knight, basically all 3 of them, they each have their own set of skills which you want to play off each other. That's probably not the best way to get through this door. And of course they all have their own individual health bars, so you need to keep them alive for as long as possible. Because if one of them dies, then you end up in some very interesting predicaments. You may have to start crushing skeletons with boxes, or finding different and strange ways to traverse gaps. But that's sort of what makes this game cool, is that it's somewhat emergent. There's no... I mean, there is like a specific way to solve the puzzles, but there's a lot of leeway with how you can solve them. Now, I mentioned this game came out back in 2009. It's been around for a while. I'm sure probably most of you already heard about it, at least, or played it. And it even has a sequel, Trine, already out.
The wizard saw a glimmering light coming from the shrine. No one had been able to visit it for centuries because of the ancient magic protecting whatever lay inside.
Oh. My darling, why the painful look on such a pretty face? What is this object you are holding on to? How did you get here?
The wizard touched the thief's hand, and then the object. His hand got stuck.
What kind of trickery is this?
For once, the wizard was more interested in magic than anything else. He was also afraid for his dear life. But there was someone nearby who welcomed a challenge.
The big stupid knight.
At the other end of the Astral Academy, a knight had been practicing his own skills to battle the undead and prove himself worthy of joining the king's army. Between me and you, he did not quite understand what undead meant, but this was his chance to be the bravest knight of all. The knight felt it was his duty to protect the Astral Academy during this time of despair. He was on the lookout for anything unusual.
That's kind of funny. The knight felt it was his duty to protect... Like, what else would a knight do? That's the only point of a knight. It's kind of dumb. But whatever, this game's not... Oh, that's how you get to that. Yeah, the game's not about the story that much. I mean, it is a little bit.
Oh!
But,
what's this?
the majority is about just figuring out how to get all the secrets and
on?
get through all the puzzles. And it also looks quite pretty along the way.
The knight saw a faint light coming from the age-old shrine. Could there be a thief? Was this the knight's day of honor? He had sworn an oath to himself to protect the shrine and the academy. Nothing could stand in his way.
What's going on?
The knight joined in, taking a firm grip of the object's third side, in a way that only a mighty warrior can.
Oh no, this doesn't bode well.
What doesn't bode well?
There was a flash of light, and the wizard, the thief, and the knight simply disappeared.
Why would they all grab it? They see the other two are grabbing it. What's the point of him grabbing it too?
Our new heroes were overwhelmed by the effect of the mysterious object. The wizard tried hard to remember everything he'd learned of the shrine and its artifact. His mind raced through ancient tales and legends. Finally, the wizard remembered. The treasure, the ancient object, was a device that could bind souls together. How it worked, he did not know. But he knew that it was connected to the legend of the Guardian, whose earthly remains had been buried in the catacombs deep underneath the Astral Academy. The tomb resided right below the shrine. The wizard could not explain it, but he was sure the object was called the Trine. The knight didn't care. A more pressing concern was on his mind.
It's all her fault. We must take her into custody. She stole the king's treasure!
Did you not understand a word I said? It is not treasure, it's an ancient object, the Trine. I believe it has bound our souls. We are stuck together.
But she...
The thief remained silent. She was waiting for the right moment to escape, hopefully with the treasure and without the pair of fools.
I think I know how we can use the device as we like.
Ha ha! They don't scare me. On guard!
Interesting, since I'm not actually controlling him. So anyway, now... Oh, come
What
on.
have I got myself into?
Let me
We have
talk.
to find a way to reverse the spell, to undo the magic. The tomb of the Guardian in the catacombs may have the answer, and it's not far away.
We done now? I think we're done. So anyway, now you can actually control all three characters at once, and it's as simple as flicking the mouse wheel to switch between them. So let's see about heading forward a little bit. Can we? Alright, you can only grapple onto certain objects, so you gotta be kind of conscious of that. None of these objects seem to be good for grappling. Let's see if we can maybe make a box here. That will do it. And now maybe I can shoot something up here. Maybe I can shoot this. Okay, that'll work. No. Okay, sort of randomly got up there. That's fine. Now, even though physics make the game much more versatile in the way that you can approach things, they also can sometimes make things a little bit frustrating. Getting through some of the puzzles is a little bit hit or miss, depending on exactly how you approach them. You know, not everything's going to react the same way every time, which is kind of the great thing about physics, but it also means that not everything's going to react the same way every time. So yeah, there are certain platforms that I particularly dread because they're a little awkward to get around or through. The game puts a strangely large emphasis on combat. I guess ideally it's trying to split combat, exploration, and thinking, like, equally amongst the three characters, which is kind of a noble goal, but I think they may have ended up a little bit heavy on the combat side of things. It's not a deal breaker or anything, but it definitely can be a little detracting sometimes. Just trying to make progress, you find skeletons respawning over and over and over again. You just want to sort of move forward and stop fighting the damn skeletons because they're not very difficult to fight, and they just sort of do the same thing every time. I have also found that a lot of times you end up just sort of making these sort of jumps from under stuff to over stuff. Maybe a little bit more versatility in approach would have been welcome too, but whatever, it's fine. The game's still really cool. I'm not meaning to rag on it this hard.
Oh, that's just great.
I've been playing this for a while. I never actually finished it, but I definitely put in like 3 or 4 hours on it. And I enjoyed it a lot from what I played. And just seeing sort of what each area looks like, the pretty graphics, and I guess to a smaller degree I sort of am a little interested in what the story's about. I mean, it's not the best story, granted, but it could be worse, I guess. And I guess the other bigger draw is just finding all the secrets in each area before you progress to the next one. And, you know, I'm big on secrets. Anything where you can collect stuff is something I enjoy. So we got more skeletons, another green vial up there. Oh, and the game does make some pretty creative use of some of the characters' abilities, so that's very cool. And if you're in a pinch, you can try and drop a box on top of the skeletons. That usually doesn't work, but sometimes it does, and that's always fun. No! It's not working when I want it to, of course. Well, I don't want to get him killed. Yeah, you're probably actually supposed to use the shield about half the time when you're trying to fight those guys, but, you know, whatever. I'm just sort of playing hack and slash style. That would be a checkpoint. And this one you can actually use the wizard to flip these guys over using your levitate. And that will flip up there, and that will flip over there. And there's all kinds of hazards, I mean spike pits and fireball shooters and pretty much whatever you might expect in any kind of platform game you'll find in this one. I could show you real quick the skill trees. Well, they're not so much trees as skill progression charts. There's a few things that you can level up as you go through the game. You actually see there's experience down at the bottom there. And then there's a huge stack of items which you accumulate throughout the game, which you can then give to each character to boost various things that they have, attributes. So the RPG element is not particularly deep, but it doesn't really matter. It's not supposed to be an RPG game. Yeah, I really should have probably used the grappling hook on that, huh? I guess if you're being super cool, you can block those fireballs with your shield. Kinda nice. But I think you probably get pretty much the idea. Oh, I killed my knight by accident. And you gotta wait until the next, wow, I spawned my wizard right on top of it. Once you get to a checkpoint again, he will res just fine. I think you can even backtrack to go to the last checkpoint. So the punishments for death are not incredibly severe. A little creative grappling there. Although I don't remember where the last checkpoint was. I think it was probably in that monster room. Oh, it's right there. So I think if I push my way through here, I should be able to respawn him. Yeah. So he comes back with half health. But yeah, it's pretty necessary to keep all three characters as long as you can. But the game just keeps going and going, gets better and better, and more puzzles. And then you finish it. Like all games. But, you know, it drew enough of a following that they made a sequel, so it's definitely a good one. It's actually available for Steam, for Mac and PC. It's even on Linux, and they made it for PSN as well, so if you have a PS3, you can play it on that. Not sure I'd want to use a controller to control this, since a lot of the very specific movements of stuff require, you know, something a little more granular, like a mouse. Although, PS3, you could probably plug a mouse into that as well, who knows. Yeah, I don't have it for PS3, so I'm not sure. But I think that'll about do it for Trine. Definitely a lot of fun. Check it out. I believe it's $10 right now. And the sequel, I'm not sure, but I don't have the sequel. So thank you for watching. Make sure you head on over to facebook.com/IndieImpressions to keep up on all the new stuff going every day. I post every night's video over there. You can leave comments and such, request new games. I also have a Twitter, @RockLeeSmile or @IndieImpression. Either one of those, feel free to chat with me anytime. Be happy to discuss whatever you want to talk about. And that will pretty much do it. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you tomorrow with another episode.